Like your stories a little strange and unusual, maybe with a philosophical bent? Well, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Theodore Volgoff.
God Gets a Checkup by Theodore Volgoff. It's 7 a.m. on a Monday morning, and the God Yahweh is working at his desk at the Divine Intervention Hotline, answering calls with the aid of his Alpha Omega supercomputer. Divine Intervention Hotline, Yahweh speaking. How may I help you?
Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz?
Yahweh hung up. It was just another prank call. Alf, why is Janice no longer stopping these calls? The Alpha Omega supercomputer, affectionately known as Alf, replied, "The Janice prank call filter has stopped working. Would you like me to send a message to Satan?" "Yes, get him in here. He created it, so let him fix it." "Done." He thanked Alf for his help and answered the next call. Divine Intervention Hotline, Yahweh speaking. How may I help you? "God damn it, Billy. How many times do I have to tell you to—" Yahweh hung up. Apparently Janice was not the only one of Satan's inventions to go on the fritz. Now the Hicks profanity filter was not working either. He asked Alf to send another message to Satan and tell him that it was urgent. Then he answered the next call. Divine Intervention Hotline, Yahweh speaking. How may I help you? He heard a man whispering, "Dear Lord, I have a favor to ask you." "Go on." "I know it's a lot to ask, and I probably do not deserve it." "Let me be the judge of that. What is it that you want, my son?" "Would you please let me win the 33 million lottery prize tonight?" "That is a huge favor to ask. Tell me, son, why'd you need all that money?" "I got fired today, and I don't know how long it'll take me to get another job. My wife has breast cancer and is too sick to work, so now we have no money coming in. We were struggling with the mortgage payments even before I lost my job, so I'm afraid we could end up losing the house if things do not turn around soon. We could really use your help." "I am so sorry to hear that. It must be really difficult for you. But 33 million still sounds like a lot more than you could use. I'm not just asking for myself, but also for my family and friends. And I will donate the money to charity as well. A lot of people will benefit from that money, I promise you." "Let me think about this for a minute, and then I will get back to you. You will have my answer by tonight." "I'm so sorry to bother you with this, God, and thank you for listening." "Any time. I am here for you. Amen." Yahweh ended the call and consulted with Alpha Omega. "What do we know about this man that just called, Alf?" Alf promptly delivered the most basic trivia. "Gary Henson, age 33. Lives in Enola, Pennsylvania. Married for 7 years to his wife Betty. No children, unemployed. $72,156 in debt. Baptist. Regular churchgoer." "Will he put the money to good use, as he said?" "Yes." Yahweh was pleased. Henson was an honorable man who would use his prize money to help others, and he was looking forward to giving the man what he deserved. "Then I see no reason why we should not give the man what he prayed for." "It will ruin him." "That is a good reason to deny him his request," Alf replied. This was not the answer he was expecting, and he asked Alf to clarify how the man would be ruined. "He would do exactly what he said he would. First, he would take care of his wife's medical expenses and pay the mortgage. Then he would donate the money to his local church and to local charities. Friends and family members who were having financial problems will start coming to him for help, and he will be more than happy to help them." Yahweh nodded and said, "So far it sounds good. What is it that will ruin him?" "After a while he will begin to resent all those people coming to him for help, as he realizes that many of them really do not need it. They are simply looking for easy money. Instead of putting it to good use, he will hoard it, as he is unable to find any person or cause that he considers worthy. Eventually he will become so distrustful of those close to him that he will no longer have any friends. His wife will divorce him, and he will spend the rest of his life as a very bitter, greedy, and lonely man. Not good. Not good." "And what happens if I deny his request?" "That local church will start a charity fundraiser to pay their mortgage. In 15 months Betty will be cancer-free, and the couple create a charity that helps cancer sufferers pay their mortgages. The marriage stays intact." "That is better. You can mark Henson's request as denied, Alf." "Done." Yahweh gets ready to answer another call when he hears a dark voice behind him. "Hello, big brother." Satan had finally arrived to fix the prank call and profanity filters. Yahweh watched his little brother debug Hicks and Janice. Satan had always been technically gifted, and he had to admit that he was, in some respects, a genius. If only he would use his gifts more wisely, he thought to himself, then he would be able to do a lot of good. He was hoping that the Wild One had grown up a bit since they last met. "Are you still touring with the Rolling Stones?" Yahweh asked. "Nah. They're a bit boring these days. The music is still great, and the guys are nice, but they do not party like they used to." "So are you not time traveling anymore?" "Oh, I am. I just like to revisit the good old days and have a bit of fun. But since you yelled at me for nearly giving Napoleon the win at Waterloo, I have been a bit more careful. I cannot expect you to be there to create time loops whenever I mess something up." "That sounds awfully responsible of you," Yahweh teased. "Does this mean you're going up, little brother? Becoming old and wise?" "Nah, never," Satan grinned. "But you are getting old, though. You look tired. Are you doing okay?" Yahweh told him he was feeling a bit stressed and worn out, that he had booked an appointment with Dr. Don Ventari for a complete checkup. "Then you need a little cheering up," Satan said. "I've got the perfect thing for you. Just watch this. Are you done with the debugging already?" Yes. Janice and Hicks will be fine now." Satan disappeared, and Yahweh asked Alf to track and display him on screen. Satan was standing at the top of a very large hill in his red devil costume, complete with horns and a cape, and with a pair of skis on his feet. Yahweh was worried that he might tamper with history again. "Where is he, Alf? And when?" he asked.
"In Eidsberg, Norway, November 1st, 1808, 0015 local time."
"Any people about?" "Just one. A local man named Olaf Rye." An acceptable number. He could not do much harm to history with only one witness, Yahweh thought. Satan crouched at the top of the hill and pushed himself down the first few meters with a stick. He then threw the stick and placed his arms behind his back, his head down, and picked up speed. 30 meters from the top of the hill there was a ramp, and Satan was heading straight for it. When he reached the ramp, he jumped off, put his arms next to his body and his head almost right in between the skis, and flew down the hill at great speed, before landing elegantly with one foot in front of the other, with his knees bent. Satan was visibly proud of his own achievement and asked his brother what he thought of it. "Utter madness," Yahweh said, laughing, "and yet beautiful to behold." Satan was happy. He made his big brother smile. Yahweh was getting ready to return to his work when a thought hit him. His brother's visit had reminded him of something that he had tried to forget, a family secret, the mystery of Jesus. It bothered him that he did not know how Jesus had come into existence. After all, he was supposed to be his son. Yet he knew that he would never be so reckless to make a young, unmarried girl pregnant. That sounded more like something his brother would do. He decided it was time to have the talk with Alf again. "Alf, I want to talk about Jesus. Are we having the 'how could this happen' talk again?" "Well, it's been a long time since I asked. Do you think it's not time you told me? If I tell you how it happened, you will change it and sabotage your own success. I cannot allow that. You owe a great deal of your popularity and power to Jesus. It is because of him that such a large number of people worship you. Without him you would not be able to do as much good as you are now." I know. So when are you going to tell me?" "There is no need for me to tell you. You will soon discover the truth on your own." Yahweh was sitting quietly in the office of Don Ventari, who was giving him a very thorough checkup. During the examination, the doctor was making a lot of small noises and his face kept twitching. Yahweh got worried and asked the doctor what was wrong. Don Ventari bit his lip. "Well, I'm not done yet with the examination, but I can already tell you that I think you've seen better days," he said. He pointed to the wall where his findings were being displayed. "The main issue is your liver. It is enlarged and fatty. It hoards the resources that should be distributing, and its ability to filter out impurities is damaged. This puts your immune system on high alert, causing it to attack the liver. The attack irritates the liver, which responds by filtering out toxins and essential nutrients, as it can no longer tell the difference between what is useful and good and what is not." He zoomed in on an image to reveal the cause of the problem, the zealots among Yahweh's own followers, which he already suspected. As a god, you can only ever be as healthy as your worshippers. They are after all what your body is made of. Yahweh could see his people fighting amongst themselves, each of them claiming to know the truth, the one true path of God, and trying to get everyone else to follow the way of doing things, not realizing that each of them had their own unique destiny and duty to fulfill. And he watched them as they hoarded wealth and resources instead of sharing them with those less fortunate. This put his followers in a bad light and made them targets of animosity and criticism.
I read your journal before you came in, Donavantari said, and it appears this is an issue you've been struggling with for some time. My predecessor, Asclepius, gave you advice on how to manage your condition, did he not?
Yes. And did you listen to his advice?
No. The doctor was disappointed and asked Yahweh why he ignored Asclepius' advice.
Because he told me that I should exercise control over my people and take away their free will, Yahweh said. Seems like sound advice. After all, it is addressing the root of the problem, your people and the disharmony between them, which is what is causing your health to deteriorate. If you rein them in, they can no longer cause you any harm.
I know.
And you still will not take away their free will?
No. Their free will is a gift, and I will not ask them to return it or take it away from them,
even if it kills you.
I am here to serve them. They are not here to serve me. If it leads to my death, so be it.
Donavantari realized that he could not change the mind of his patient, and decided to continue with the account of Yahweh's health.
You are also suffering from constipation, which is not an uncommon problem among gods. I can prescribe some laxative to address the issue, but I'm not so sure you would take it, for I assume that you purposely hold back. Yahweh confirmed this. He explained that when he let go, people took it personally and thought they were being punished, and he did not wish to be the cause of anyone's suffering. The last time he let go, the event was recorded in human history as the Great Flood. Yes, I have noticed that your followers have a tendency to overanalyze everything. They seem able to accept things that simply happen, or more accurately, that shit happens, Donavantari said and smiled. Which brings us to the next part of your examination. Drop your trousers, please. Yahweh did not like this part of the checkup. He reluctantly let his trousers drop to the floor. As I suspected, you have a serious case of piles. Donavantari revealed what was causing it. It was the fire and brimstone crowd. They were occupying the area carrying signs that said, "Repent ye sins, for the end is nigh." Yahweh was disappointed that they had chosen to focus on the ass end of creation. There was certainly better things they could be focusing on, and better ways for them to spend their lives, such as joining with the many charitable organizations doing good work in his name. These were close to his heart. You can put your trousers back on. We are done with the physical examination, Donavantari said. All that is left is to evaluate your mental health. Donavantari asked him a series of questions, and it quickly became apparent that Yahweh was under a lot of stress. He was torn between those who wanted to hold on to the old ways and those who wanted renewal. He knew that change was necessary in order to maintain life, for that which does not change decays. But he still found change to be difficult. I'm trying to please everyone, but it does not seem to work, he complained. That is the downside of giving your people free will. They are bound to disagree with each other. But if you're not willing to take it away from them, the other way you can reduce your stress levels is by distracting yourself. So what do you do for fun? How do you relax? Well, when I have the time, I like to listen to hymns and psalms, and I love watching the gospel channel. Yahweh's eyes lit up as he continued. I keep thinking that as long as people sing those songs, I am okay. And what I'm doing is working. That I am useful and loved. The light in Yahweh's eyes faded, but I can see that I'm fooling myself. Don't beat yourself up. You have atheists for that, Donavantari joked. Yahweh laughed. The good doctor had a point. How long has it been since you had a vacation? Donavantari wanted to know. Oh, about 300 years. Yahweh told the doctor about his last vacation. The 63 years he spent on Earth as the fisherman Yi Yunfeng in Guangdong province of China during the 15th century. It was a wonderful life, he said. Yi Yunfeng was a kind and humble man who helped his fellow villagers in every way he could. He lived his adult life alone with no wife or kids and died accidentally when an arrow meant for another man hit him in the chest, killing him instantly. Donavantari ordered him to take another vacation. 300 years of constant work with only 1 day of rest each week is not enough. You need to take some time off to rebuild your strength. If I do that, I'm worried that my work will suffer, Yahweh said. He did not like to be away from his work. You are forgetting that you're not like your human followers, that you inhabit 11 dimensions and not just 4. This means you can time travel, even create a time loop if you wish, and repeat your life as a Yi Yunfeng. And when you come back to your work, you can pick up right where you left off. Yahweh knew the doctor was right, and he did not argue. It was time for him to take a break. He thanked Donavantari for his advice and left. How's it hanging, big brother? What did the doc say? Satan was back. He was beaten up and covered in tar and feathers, but Yahweh was too tired and afraid of the answer to even ask him what happened. He just sighed and handed his little brother a copy of the doctor's report and told him he had been ordered to take a vacation. I can help you with that, Satan said, excited. Yahweh was not so sure. The last work break his brother had planned for him consisted of Pop Rocks candy, Jägermeister, and a Tom Waits karaoke marathon. He said he was even more tired after the break. He tried to be diplomatic and let him down gently. I appreciate that you want to help me, but I really think I should take care of this myself. I know exactly what you want and what you need, Satan said. No women, no booze, no rock music, well, basically, no fun. Just a quiet time and a place where nothing much ever happens, am I right? That is what I would call a vacation. Then trust me, I can do this. Let me help you. Yahweh knew that Satan was sincere, but the words trust me coming out of his mouth never put him at ease. Even with the best intentions, 9 times out of 10 he would manage to screw something up. Please. That was the magic word. A concerned and pouting little brother pleading with him was impossible to resist, especially when covered in tar and feathers. He gave in and let Satan plan his vacation. You won't regret it. It'll be the best vacation ever. You just wait. Yahweh was already regretting it. Satan returned to his office dressed as an angel in a white robe with an impressive pair of wings and a transfer wand with a crystal tip. Ready to go, big brother? Satan asked. I'm ready, but are you? Have you planned my vacation already? Yahweh thought Satan had been a bit hasty and now was even more worried. No need to plan, Satan said. Whenever I've been out traveling and find myself in some boring, insignificant backwater, I've thought of you. So the minute you told me you needed a vacation, I already knew where to take you. I just had to get changed and pick up the transfer wand. So ready to go? He was not happy with the answer, and looked at Alf, hoping it would give him a way out. But all he said was, Enjoy your vacation. Yahweh was resigned to his fate and confirmed that he was ready to go. Satan put the wand to Yahweh's head and transferred his spirit into the crystal. Satan crashed down in Galilee, just outside of Nazareth, in front of a terrified young girl. In his excitement and hurry he had forgotten that the angel disguise he was wearing only came with a pair of cosmetic wings, and not actual working ones. Thankfully he was immortal and simply shook off the dust, adjusted his neck, and checked that the transfer wand containing his brother's soul was intact. He looked at the young girl in front of him and put on his most angelic smile. Greetings, you are highly favored. The Lord is with you, Satan said and bowed his head. The girl thought this was an odd greeting and wondered if the angel had hit his head on his way down. I bring great news to you, Satan continued. The Lord wishes to be made flesh. You have been chosen to bring his soul forth into the material world. Are you sure you have the right person? Is your name Mary? Are you betrothed to a young man named Joseph? Yes. Then you are indeed the blessed virgin that the Lord has chosen. Mary was still not convinced that the angel was in his right mind. What was it you said I was chosen again for? She asked. To bring the soul of God into the material world. And how would I do that? You will have a child, Mary. You will give birth to a son. Mary protested loudly. But I am not married. How can I have a child without a man? Satan waved his hands and shook his head and replied, Details, minor details. God works in mysterious ways and all that. Satan had slipped out of his angelic character for a brief moment and noticed that Mary was becoming suspicious and decided it was time to seal the deal. He straightened up, put on a stern face, and showed her the transfer wand and said, Behold, staff of God, I shall bless you with this and you will be with child. Satan quickly poked Mary's belly with the wand and it began to grow. In the matter of seconds she became heavily pregnant. There, now you are ready to pop. Take good care of the little one and give him a good life. Satan then vanished into thin air, leaving behind the astonished Mary, who wondered how she was going to explain her sudden pregnancy to her parents and Joseph. The parents reacted reasonably well to their daughter's condition. Her mother only fainted once, and the father simply stood there bug-eyed without saying a word when she told them what had happened. After roughly 3 seconds of deliberation, it was decided that Mary and Joseph had to leave the area to avoid becoming targets of gossip and rumors. The young couple were hastily married and sent packing. A few days later, their journey ended in Bethlehem. Mary had gone into labor. Yahweh heard a woman scream and saw a bright light approaching fast. He closed his eyes and shuddered with the cold and realized that he had just been reborn. He felt a blanket being wrapped around him and the warmth of his mother's skin on his face. The smell of hay, dirt, and burning wood was in the air, and he heard a man and a woman speak. Well done, Mary, well done. He is beautiful, the man said. He certainly is. I want to name him after you. What do you think, Joseph? It's a nice thought, but I was hoping we could name him after my oldest brother. The one that died before you were born. Yes, that way he will not be forgotten. Then we will name him after your brother. We shall call him Jesus. Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. Yahweh thought those names sounded strangely familiar, but he was sure it was just a coincidence. Then he heard a knock at the door, and Joseph welcoming a group of strange men inside. Who are they? Mary asked. These are the wise men from the east. They have come to see the Son of God, and they have brought him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Yahweh finally realized what was happening, and who he was. This was not the quiet, relaxing, and low-key vacation he had in mind. He was furious and wanted to leave. Mary noticed that her little boy was upset. Cradling his head in her hands, kissed his forehead and told him everything was going to be fine, and that he was safe and loved. His anger vanished. He had forgotten how good it felt to be loved. It was truly the greatest blessing of being human. He almost had fallen asleep in his mother's arms when he heard his brother's voice. Hello, little baby. I have a shiny toy for you. Yahweh opened his eyes and found Satan disguised as one of the wise men dangling a piece of gold in front of him. Happy little one? He asked. He knew Satan was not referring to the toy. The sunrise was only minutes away, and Yahweh had a decision to make. At first sunlight he would forget his divinity and become mortal, both in mind and body. After that he would no longer have the option of returning to his divine state, not before his allotted years on earth were over. Yahweh tried to gather as much information as he could in order to make up his mind. He saw the wise men talking to Joseph in the corner of the room, and he heard them say how happy they were to finally have found the Son of God, the Messiah. He saw his mother Mary smiling, who was cradling him, and he could feel the love emanating from her. And by his side was Satan, waiting anxiously for approval. He thought of the fate that awaited him as Jesus, and the millions of lives that would be touched by it. He knew he could not let them all down. He had to stay. Yahweh looked into his brother's eyes, drew a deep breath, and smiled. Satan was ecstatic. He had finally done something right. As the sun rose over Bethlehem, Yahweh's memory of himself as God faded away, and he became the infant Jesus, a small boy entranced by the shiny toy dangling in front of his eyes.